Robin, how has your life changed over the last 10 months or so? Has it been a big impact from, I don't know what you were kind of making before, but has that been a kind of a shock to you financially? Have you registered yet that you're now doing 10K a month? Like how has that impacted your personal and business life?
I mean, yeah, what I mentioned before we started. So finally, I went on holiday because I was really not making a lot of money for a long time. So
Yeah.
I finally found, and I went on a holiday, and it was within the normal expenses that I would have in a month. I could go on a holiday without stressing out too much. So I didn't really spend extra money on the holiday if I would have had it in a normal a month. I mean, I made it all live, but we have short time, so I could finally buy a new laptop. Get the co-working space. I bought a lot of things for the kitchen to finally, take care of my health. Finally go to the gym. I was working out in the parks all the time because at some point it didn't really financially make sense to go get a gym membership. So yeah, it changed a lot. It's still a bit weird, those numbers, and also as you might know, you have the taxes. So where you're like, okay, how much is it really? And it's always a bit disappointing, motivating to push forward. But so it changed a lot. I'm way more calm while I'm having way more stress because there's way more shit happening with huge amounts of budget. But I'm not afraid for the next coming 3, 6, or 12 months. So that's pretty amazing.
What's up, guys? Jordan here. Today we're joined by Robin. Robin is a member of the Affluent Academy. Funny enough, who actually, his girlfriend got a copy of the 50-Minute Agency a year or so ago, and then he ended up getting drawn in himself, starting his own agency, and he's now at 10K per month. I think just a little bit over that, which is fantastic. Within 10 months, by the way, guys. So we're going to dive into this today and how Robin has done this. Robin just focuses on video outreach. He doesn't do cold calls and all of that, if I'm not mistaken, which is, this is a big one for many of you guys who are afraid to do cold calls. So Robin, as always, it would be great if you can give everyone a little bit of an introduction and maybe let us know what brought you up to today, how you stumbled across this, and what made you actually want to get into digital marketing in the first place.
Yes, thanks for the great introduction. Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned it. I actually bought the 5-Minute Agency for my girlfriend because it was like, oh, it's a good fit. And when I started, I was doing all kinds of things. I was doing the SEO thing, trying to build an online dating service comparison site, and had a team, and it all didn't work. Then I was like, wait a minute, that book that I gave my girlfriend was pretty epic. And then I looked at it, and at some point I joined the Affluent Academy. So that's quite funny how I gave it away, but actually I needed it the most. And a little bit of history. I mean, I dropped out of university after 1 year studying applied physics because it was not for me. I tried everything under the sun. I tried online poker. I tried remote customer support jobs. I tried the whole SEO thing. I even did a little bit of agency stuff with a partner, but that didn't really work out. We were building funnels, and it was all a big disaster. So I was like, okay, I need to really figure this out because it's costing me too much time without the reward. So that's how I eventually started working for myself. As you mentioned before we started the interview, more like a freelancer at the beginning. I'm slowly starting to outsource a little bit with designers and editors. So that's it in a nutshell.
Amazing. So you've been entrepreneurial for a long time. When did you think you had that transition period of like knowing that you were not going to be okay being an employee? Because it sounds to me like you just were doing everything you possibly can to avoid having to be an employee. So what was that transition like? What were you doing beforehand?
I don't know if I really had like a transition like that. It just kind of started with, I went to some great festival in Budapest. It's called Sziget. I don't know, maybe you've heard about it. And there I had a really good time. And I was like, I need more experiences of this. And if I'm just studying, then it doesn't really work. And I also realized when I was studying, like this is the people that I'm going to work with. And I was like, I don't know if I want to work with these people, and I didn't feel like good behavior got rewarded. I already started feeling that in high school. So that's kind of how it started. And then you first thought, okay, let's try online poker. And then you realize, okay, if I don't put in the time, then I also don't get the reward. So then you start looking, okay, how can I make it a little bit more independent, the income. Then you start looking into entrepreneurship, and I kind of stumbled into it because I started working with someone who did it. And then at some point I realized, okay, maybe I can do it better myself. Yeah, it didn't make sense to have a team if you don't really add something and if there's no money. So those were the steps. Like, I didn't want to be depending on time. Then I didn't want to depend on a team or not be able to execute my own ideas. So I was never entrepreneurial, actually. It kind of just went step by step.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a gradual process. You kind of just growing into that role. That's wicked, man. And you scaled up to a very respectable level within pretty much 10 months since launching your agency. So I'd love to know a bit about, because some people work for, some people it takes them 3 months in rare instances of scaling up to the 6-figure point. Some people it takes them 3 years. Some people will never reach that point. And so you've done that in a very consistent and a very, very respectable time period, which for me is like, it's enough time for you to adjust to that workload and adjust to that agency life, because 10 clients is a lot of work. And that's something I want to touch on, because I know you said that you've only just started outsourcing a few little design elements, so the whole ad side of things must be extremely busy for you, and I want to jump into that in a bit. But I'd like to know, like, what was the process? How did you manage to scale up? How were you getting clients during that period?
Yeah, so I watched your course, and already before that I tried a few things, and then you showed the Loom videos, and I've heard about them, and then I started realizing it really makes sense, because you start, hey, I would like to speak to you, and I have some ideas. And I mean, I don't know how you see it in English, but normally I'm quite a good talker, and I can do that, on the cuff. So off the cuff, I think the saying is in English. Yeah. So for me, it was like, I just prepare 10, 15 minutes and I do a Loom video. So that was quite time efficient. I'm not like being a 1 or 2 hours work on it. And I know that a lot of people are all sending this like same template, always with something like leaving money on the table. And that's also the first responses I got when I sent emails. I was like, yeah, how can I change this? And I already had some like experience from working with previous clients. So I kind of knew what to look for in a client. So just from the start, that's also what I really liked about your course. You gave me some extra insights with like, on what to focus in a client. So I was just really looking for quality clients, and then making a quality Loom video. And that worked for me because it's quite easy for me to record videos, and I already had quite some marketing knowledge. So that's kind of how I did it. And actually, because of your accountability challenge, I was already a bit busy when I started with that. But then I didn't know I could make 10 Loom videos in a day. I was a bit lazy before that. And then I made 10 Loom videos in one day. That was the first day. And I already got a customer from that. So I didn't even finish the challenge, but I made the challenge in the way I got a customer. So yeah, that's kind of how I've been doing it. Just making Loom videos, really personalized, really starting with the name, starting with the website on the screen of the Loom video. And if you send it on LinkedIn, they can see, oh, hey, he made actually a video, and I see my website in that video. So yeah, that's kind of how I went about it.
Sweet. And one really key thing that you've highlighted there, which so many people get wrong, is the quality of the customer. Because like, you could be sending 10 Loom videos a day for a month, and if you are not focusing on the quality of that business, like you could be sending the most perfect outreach, and you're just not going to be getting anywhere, because you could have meetings, they can't afford you, and just all this heap of problems. So how are you delivering those Loom videos? Because I know a lot of people do video outreach or Loom video outreach. So, by the way, guys, if you don't know what Loom is a online video recording software. You can record your screen, and you can walk people through essentially their website, their Facebook, give them a bit of value, lead forward with value, and then want to book a meeting with them. So how are you actually delivering those Loom videos? You say LinkedIn is the main way you're sending them over?
Yeah, it depends a bit. So if the demographic is a bit older, like let's say 30 to 60 or something, then mainly I go for LinkedIn, but I also had success on doing it on Instagram. And of course, like if they don't respond on LinkedIn, I follow up there, or I go for email, or I go for Instagram, or whatever I have. So I mainly focus on Instagram and LinkedIn. I feel they're the most responsive there. If I cannot get them on there, then of course I do the email and try to find the business owner's address. But I send them mainly on LinkedIn and a little bit on Instagram, and the rest is just follow up. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And are you sending the link in the first message, or are you like sending a message first, nurturing, and then sending a link? So how are you?
I directly sent the video, just like, what do I say? I just mentioned something like, hey, I saw it, your website or whatever. Most of the time I'm really making specific. So, hey, I saw it on Facebook, or I saw it on Instagram, or I saw your article about X on LinkedIn. So I really show I saw something from you. I'm not making this up. Like, yeah, doing a great job. I have a few ideas for you. And most time already in the text, I mention something. So let's say they have an ebook. I'm like, I think you could get more ebook downloads, or you could use this ebook in a different way. And with a different way, I mean advertising. Then I'm like, so I made a little video where I explained this more in depth. Link, hope it helps you out or it's valuable. Robin.
Yeah. That's so key. That's so key. And I teach people how to go onto someone's Facebook page and say, hey, look, yeah, you've got a lot of likes on your page. You've got a really good base, but you're leaving money on the table because you're not running ads at the moment. Like, it's just completely, like, even if you've got that person's website up, it can still be completely unpersonalized because it just will look like you're following the same script for every single person. So that personalization and the quality of client here, guys, is key to how Robin has delivered this and has scaled up so well, because those are the things that lazy people overlook because they think, oh, it's still, I just need to reach out to 10, 20 companies per day. Well, you're wasting your time completely if you're not personalizing your outreach and you're not making sure that that client or that potential client is actually a good quality business. You're completely wasting your time. You might as well just not bother. So make sure you personalize, make sure you ensure those quality customers are good. Robin, one other thing. So you've scaled up, you've done the Loom outreach, and you're doing that within the Netherlands, and I think you said Belgium as well, which is the main areas you're reaching out to. So I'd like to know, like, how if there's anything that you'd had to do differently there, because I get a lot of people reach out from in various places in Europe, and they're concerned that maybe this only works in the UK or the US because it's like a predominantly something that we promote the most. So was there anything you needed to change? Did you see that you needed to convince people a little bit more?
I guess there's two things. Like, the first thing is maybe a little bit language and the cultural difference. So in the Netherlands, not that many people are doing Loom videos. So I don't have to be, yeah, you're making mistakes, you're leaving money on the table. I'm just like, hey, I looked at your marketing and I saw a few ways that you could, do more or improve. So, because if you send a Loom video, you're quite unique, and it turned most of the time people off. I got even some person, eventually she became my client, responded like, I mean, I don't know how much revenue you are doing, but I'm doing quite fine, because I was, too aggressive.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is that people don't realize how much money they can actually make with ads, because they are thinking, oh, it's only the Netherlands, oh, it's only Belgium. So it's hard for them sometimes to understand still the scale with, the not more than 20 million people. You can still make like $1 million per year as a coach or a consultant who's doing a webinar or whatever. But they cannot imagine that they can do $1 million a year in the Netherlands. I mean, it depends a bit on the niche and the offer, of course. So I think those two things, if I tell someone, yeah, I think you can easily make 30K per month if you, do this and this, like, oh, I can do that consistently. And I'm in the back of my mind, like, I mean, you could do 50, maybe 70. So that's took some more convincing, and, people don't like numbers. So that's been the hard part, to show them like what they can do, because also in the Netherlands, we're not really like, oh, nice watches, show off how much you're making. So most people, if they make 10K, they are super happy. And I'm looking for clients who make already 10K so that they can pay me to scale them up. So I guess that was a little bit of challenge locally for me.
100%. And are you speaking to them in English, or are you speaking to them in Dutch?
In Dutch, yes.
Okay, sweet. So that's another thing, guys, because there's a lot of people who reach out to like companies in their local area or like international companies. If you can speak the native language, then ensure you do that, because you're going to connect with people much more. Robin, how has your life changed over the last 10 months or so? Has it been a big impact from, I don't know what you were kind of making before, but has that been a kind of a shock to you financially? Have you registered yet that you're now doing 10K a month? Like, how has that impacted your personal and business life?
I mean, yeah, what I mentioned before we started. So finally I went on holiday, because I was really, really not making a lot of money for a long time. So I finally found, and I went on a holiday, and it was within the normal expenses that I would have in a month. I could go on a holiday without stressing out too much. So I didn't really spend extra money on the holiday if I would have had it in a normal month. I made it all this, but we have a short time. So I could finally buy a new laptop. get the co-working space. I bought
Nice.
a lot of things for the kitchen to finally, take care of my health. Finally go to the gym. I was working out in the parks all the time because at some point it didn't really financially make sense to go and get a gym membership. So yeah, it changed a lot. It's still a bit weird, those numbers, and also as you might know, you have the taxes. So where you're like, okay, how much is it really? And it's always a bit disappointing, motivating to push forward. But so it changed a lot. I'm way more calm while I'm having way more stress because there's way more shit happening with huge amounts of budget. But I'm not afraid for the next coming 3, 6, or 12 months. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can allow yourself to enjoy it more, can't you? You're no longer working to make the money. You're kind of like working to. You find areas of it that you didn't really enjoy before because you've got you're allowed to chill more. So I imagine you're busy as hell at the moment with your managing. And this is one thing that people ask all the time: is like, how many clients can I actually manage by myself? So you're on. Did you say you're 9 clients at the moment?
Yes.
So how is managing 9 clients by yourself?
Yeah, at this point it's getting a little bit hard because you have so many communication threads. Like sometimes I forget about my friends because they are in the mix with normal communication thread with clients. So I really have to scan through my inbox and my email to make sure I don't miss anything. And it's the same with to-dos. I have to write down everything, always put a deadline on it, because if I don't do that, mentally I cannot handle it anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. I got the to-do list to write out this morning. It has to be done.
It's the same here.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's getting more important. And I didn't mention it, but in one of your live calls we talked about, probably you don't remember, and I was like, yeah, should I do YouTube ads for this client? You're like, yeah, you should do that. So you sent me the script. So at the moment I have 2 clients that I'm also managing YouTube ads for, and I'm going to start with display, and I added some keywords. So I have 15 ad accounts that I need to check on a daily or a weekly basis. So that is getting a little bit crazy, but I went on holiday and I barely touched anything, and it's kept working. So that's the beautiful part about it, but it's getting a bit much. And also I really try to over deliver. So some of them are on a commission base. So I help them out with the sales page, the opt-in page, the email marketing and all that stuff. One guy, I'm really redoing his whole webinar already. The results are super insane. So it is a bit much.
Yeah.
But if you really pay attention to the to-dos and make sure every day you check your communication, then it's fine. Yeah,
100%. Mate, you well overqualify for an Affluent Award. We need to get that arranged for the next one.
Thank you, that would be great.
Yeah. I owed you one way back probably. So hats off. And it's nice that you're diversifying as well, but I think sometimes that when you're doing it on your own, that can then add more stresses as well, can't it? Like then adding additional services to that. What's the next play? Are you going to look to hire somebody to start running these ads, or how do you see yourself scaling the team and scaling the company in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a bit hard because I have one client that makes me a lot of money because of the commission. So I think I will go for 1 to 3 more clients to really make sure that I'm safe all the time. And then I want to buy some extra software to automate the reporting and stuff like that. That's one part of it. And I have also 2 clients who after 3 months, I always try to get them on a commission deal if it's a good idea. So I will get them on a commission deal. So just by going with these clients, and also I get some referrals now and then, I think I can already scale it up. But yeah, I will have to look into. I think probably an assistant to do some stuff like that, and especially design. I'm still doing all that stuff in Canva and making the design in there, looking for stock photos. So I think those things I should outsource, because at the moment, to be fair, my outreach is at all-time low.
Yeah.
Because I also have been working on, this to your advice, don't build a website from the start and put all your time in it. So I have been making a website with a nice personalized personal video. So I've been working on that, and then I want to put some retargeting on it for if I start again with Loom videos. But yeah, I try to outsource a little bit of sales, but it's hard because I made the Loom videos work. So I have no clue how to make email or cold calling work. So I can't really tell them what to do. So I think I want to make more time to do outreach by outsourcing the menial tasks.
Yeah. Okay. And are you still, are you not outreaching at all at the moment, or are you still reaching out just to like a few companies?
Almost no outreach, but I have a few lines like, oh, contact me in September because then the website is done. So I still have some leads, and today I have like a new customer possibly because
Nice.
At this point I just want to have like really high quality clients and have a few people who actually know those people, and I just want to have like testimonials, and
100%.
I'm really focused on making nice foundation to at some point probably raise my prices as well, because if you're doing YouTube and Facebook advertising, even display advertising, I think charging 2 to 3 to maybe 5K a month should be eventually really doable.
Yeah, 100%. And plus the ROAS for commission deals as well. Like that's where you're going to be getting that big money from. I think one thing that you mentioned then, which is really interesting, is the fact that, and then a lot of people again worry about this, is like the fact that you actually operated as like a freelancer and you haven't had a website during this time, and you haven't needed to build an agency brand or anything like that, which is essentially exactly the same way I scaled to 6 figures. I didn't have a website. It was just Jordan Platten. When people signed with me, literally signed with Jordan Platten. Like there was me, and because I was the skill set, I knew what I was doing. And I think what that speaks testament of is that it doesn't matter about all of these. Like having a website and stuff is great, and having a brand is great. And like, if you want to invest the time to doing that, then absolutely do. But what's more important is that you're holding yourself professionally, and it's like you're the expert and you're conveying the fact that you know exactly what you're doing. It's building trust in people, and you can do that without the need of having a website. Have you found that to compensate for that, you've had to make sure your social media platforms are like really professional, or are you just using your personal Instagram? Have you found that you need to do anything different in that sense? And do you get people say, hey, look, Robin, what's your website?
All right, yeah, so that was really surprising to me that nobody asked me about my website actually, and not even about testimonials. And yesterday I spoke to someone, and I have a website now since 1 or 2 weeks, and I told him, hey, did you check my other customers? And he was like, no, I just checked the contact page. So I never had an issue with that, and I think that's kind of, yeah, because of 2 things. Like, first thing is that if you send a Loom video, you can show them like, oh, you can reach for $10 a day or 10 euros or pounds a day so many people. So you just explain them the math about if only 3% people click, and if only 2 or 3% of those people opt in, then the prices you pay for your lead or someone coming to your store are so low that it just makes sense. So I was always really confident in the fact that Facebook ads work, or any other social media ads work. And yeah, with the Loom video, I really showed my expertise already ahead. So I never had an issue with not having a website. So yeah.
I think the crucial thing there is you're just conveying enough value so people don't care. Like, because as I said, like I never had a website when I first started out either. And so as long as you can just convey the value and make people see the value and what it is that you're offering, then you're not going to have a problem. Someone, in a way, like someone asking for your website is just a bit of an objection. It's like almost their way of putting you off and saying, hey, let me see your website. And then there's a reason for them to dull a little bit of time away and then come back to you, or maybe not come back to you. And so I think, yeah, it's really important just to focus on conveying enough value and making sure that you're confident enough with your pitch. Listen, Robin, I've really, really enjoyed this call today. There's so much value in here for everyone. And so, yeah, I can't wait to put this out to everyone. I always ask people the same question or similar question when we end this. And I'd love to know what your advice would be to maybe someone who's maybe just started out, or maybe they've been going for a little bit of time and they feel like they've hit a brick wall. They need to push through to the next stage, or maybe even it's someone that is on the fence about joining the academy. They think that is the next step for them. What would you say to that person who's looking for that push to get into the right place? Maybe that bit of advice which is going to help them get to where they want to get to.
Yeah, so first of all is to really focus. I think we mentioned this already a bit before, how I did my outreach, is to really focus on the quality, because if people don't have the money to pay you, it's not going to work. If you cannot help them, it's not going to work. So you want to do that little bit of research, and that makes it so much easier later on the line, and also in the sales call. And also, I don't know how much I mentioned it before, but if you're going to do outreach, maybe you don't have a website at the beginning. Your social media profile is super important. You're going to do their videos, you're going to maybe edit their videos, you're going to choose the pictures. And if you cannot even make a decent, profile picture, or you have some whack stuff on your profile while you're drinking beer and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, of course they don't trust you. Of course they don't respond to your email, or yeah, the email you see, also the photo. So if you don't do that, then yeah, why would you trust someone with your social media profile if it looks like they barely have a normal phone to make photos with? And so then you will lose before you get started. So really look into that. And I kind of think the same with the website. Like if you make a website, you have to do it well, because that's also what you're going to be judged at. You are like a digital marketer.
Definitely.
And if you then make a shitty website, it's maybe better to not have a website and be like, hey, I'm so busy with my clients or whatever, I don't think it's important because I'm running the ads. Then yeah, you lose on your website or on your social media profile. And that's horrible, of course. And I see a lot of people who make a lot of mistakes with that. And also, yeah, it's in the numbers, like that's what was great about your course, that you have the accountability thing. Like on the first day, I sent 10 Loom videos. I never did 10 Loom videos in my life. It's like, oh, 3 to 5, oh, that's a lot. And then I did 10. I'm like, oh, actually, I could do it in 1 or 2 hours. It might be different for other people. But if you don't put in the numbers, like, what do you think? There's always a timing part where maybe they are just busy right now and you need to find the business that's like, I have been waiting for this, but I don't want to learn it myself. Let's do it. And then they don't ask any questions anyways. So
numbers is absolutely everything. Numbers is absolutely everything. What about if someone was, maybe somebody is on the fence of the Affluent Academy? What would you say to that person? Has that been? Because I know we've had conversations behind the scenes, but you've clearly had. You've got great communication skills, and you didn't learn that through the academy. You've had that prior to the academy, and so actually more even so for myself. Like, has it been a useful process for you to go through that, albeit already knowing that you've already had a preset base of skills?
That helped a lot. That helped. Yeah, that helped, I guess, a lot. But that's also what you discover. That's also great about the program, for example, is that you go through it and you're like, oh, finally, you get the permission to send the email or to do these things, because you're like, hey, yeah, actually that makes sense. And yeah, that helps a lot, and that gives some extra confidence, I think. But yeah, what you said, if you're on the fence of joining, do it, because I bought my girlfriend the book and then I waited a year, and that probably cost me a shit ton of money. So I like with that, it's like, I'm not going to say let's get a loan, but like, what are you going to regret? You tried that thing and maybe it didn't really work out for you, and okay, that's not something I want to do, or you do it and you get up to like an amazing amount of money. And yeah, what I wanted to say about that is like, there are so many courses out there and they just teach you how to do Facebook ads, but it's not about doing Facebook ads. It's doing it like for a specific business, right? Real estate, web store, a coach or consultant. I can't even remember, but in the course you have a specific like strategy and explanation how to do it for that client. And I never saw that in any course before. So that's game changer. Like, it's not just some generic knowledge. You explain it with like specific clients, and that will translate in sitting there with confidence, because you don't have to make up a strategy on the spot. You already know the strategy. You know it's working. And then the second part is that most people, they have some kind of course. You check the course, guess what? Then it doesn't work, or you don't understand, and you cannot ask any questions. And with you can always jump on a live call and ask for feedback or ask what's going on, because it's not that hard to learn the skill. It's about like the little nuances, how you're actually going to do it. And if you don't have the live call, you will not get that. Or even worse, maybe you learn a principle and that principle you interpret totally wrong. And how are you going to find out that you interpreted it wrong if you don't have someone to get feedback from? And I remember that after the live call, you even sent me your YouTube templates for the YouTube ads, and encouraged me to do that. So I started doing YouTube ads, and I literally doubled someone's business. So you need someone who cares, who's doing this stuff and can give you feedback. And those things are what makes the course like pretty great. It's like you actually have applicable things in there that you can use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And there's that feedback thing. And anyone who would consider a course, if there's no live calls, if there's no Facebook group, if there's not an active community, like don't even join, because it's probably not going to work unless you're some smart dude. And I tried to figure it out myself. I joined the course, and that accelerated my growth like a lot. So That's what I would say if you're on the fence. Like,
thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a big point. So many people overlook that when they're looking at something. It's a community. Like, we're this community of people that genuinely want to help each other succeed. Like, there's so many people in that community, like, who just genuinely want to see everybody else do well. Like, there's the repeat names that come up all the time, and there's all of us on the live calls, and we're all mucking in, and there's always so much support. And even if I'm not in a certain niche, because like I hold my hands up in the air and I don't work with certain niches, but I'm like, oh, hey, you should talk to this guy because this guy's making 5 figures a month from this niche. And it's like, oh, you should speak to Liam, or you should speak to Stephen. And there's all these people that are working in their own individual niches, which have their own expertise, and everyone wants to muck in and help each other out. So I'm really glad that's what's come across from you. And Robin, thank you so much for doing this call, my man. I'm really looking forward to hearing how things pan out in the next couple of months. It's going to be huge for you. So it's really exciting. And yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out today. But guys, that's the end of this interview. And we're going to round up now. Hope you have enjoyed this. Please do share this with somebody who will get value from it. Robin, I don't know if you've got anything else to add apart from a goodbye.
I want to add some little thing. There are a lot of Facebook groups with courses, and maybe there are successful people in it, but they're not active there. I'm going to be honest, I'm not that active in the group because I'm busy. But in your group, there are actually people who make a lot of money, and they are responding to your questions in the Facebook group or in the live call. And we talked about this before, I think, off screen. It's like, how do they even have time for that? I don't know, but they make it work. And I've never seen a group like that before, where the people who are actually making money, where it's like, I don't need to respond to the group. I don't need the help anymore. And they still help you out. So I think that's pretty amazing. That's the last thing I want to say.
That's the genuine passion for like wanting to help other people. We spoke about that before. Like, how do you find the time when you're doing everything else? It's hard to stretch that, and so you can only invest that time if you genuinely want to do that for people. So it's just amazing to see. I'm so proud of that community. Robin, I'm going to put a link in the description to any channels, to send me over any channels and social media platforms that you're happy for people to reach out to you on, if you're happy with that, to reach out, say hi, and ask any questions they may have. I hope you guys have all enjoyed this, and you'll be seeing Robin again on this channel in the future, I'm sure, when we do some kind of an update. Thank you so much, guys. I'll speak to you all really, really soon.